You're about to enjoy a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the CEO Leading In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of CEO Lead In. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights, despite their sometimes rocky paths, and found a way to lead in. Today, we are here with Sacha Brackins, founder of Brackins Law Firm. How are you today, Sacha?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much.
I'm so excited to hear all about how you started your journey here.
Yes.
You have so much energy. It's honestly contagious. I'm feeling a little more excited and energetic right
Yay.
now. So tell me a little bit about your law firm and what you do.
Absolutely. Yes. So I, like you said, I founded Brackins Law Firm. I founded it actually during COVID, right? So went to law school as a second career and realized I was going back, or I went to law school because my background is in the music industry. So I just literally was like, I'm going to law school to better the then entertainment company that I had. And when I got to law school, I started hosting some workshops, and I realized that there was just so much knowledge that the average person did not know about business, right? And I kind of made it my passion and my business to help entrepreneurs really start strong foundational businesses so that they can really develop actual wealth, right, and actual assets and stick around for a long time. So that's essentially what the practice is all about. We help women, we help communities, really start businesses strong, trademark their brand so they have ownership of what they're building. They have ownership of their creative genius. And we also, assist with licensing. We help with contracting, really all of those areas that are required when you're building empire.
Building an empire.
Yes.
I love that. So tell me, what did you do in the music industry?
I was a booking agent.
Okay.
So, yes. So, essentially what that means is I brought talent to concerts, festivals, events like that, where you would have talent come and perform. We were the people that got them there, arranged the flights, did the contracting, delivered the payment to the artist. So, we essentially act as the middleman in live performance space.
And then one day you said to yourself, I think I'm going to go to law school. I find that very intriguing.
That's essentially what happened.
So
as a child, I wanted to be a family law judge. That was actually my long-term goal. Instead, I did other things, started a family really young. It's always kind of like one of those things, like I'll probably go to law school one day. So I didn't know that I was going to make that type of pivot. But when I went back, it was, the baby was nursing. So we had 3 kids, my husband. We moved the whole family from Los Angeles down to San Diego. And I embarked on the law school journey full time with baby in tote.
So instead of Judge Judy, it could be Sacha Says.
Yes, I like that. I'll have to trademark it.
Sacha Says this.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. Well, you told us a little bit about your childhood and your dream. I think that's interesting, but I want to know, and I have definitely strong feelings on this, what is one word that you think describes you best? And it could be a couple, but
it could be a couple.
Yeah.
I like to say resilient. I feel like I typically do what people say I can't, and with grace and ease somehow. So I think, just one foot in front of the other is kind of my motto. So I believe that kind of defines me. Although I'm sure you think something else.
Well, I would say energetic, but
Energetic,
also,
yes.
honestly driven too. And kind of back to what you said, if someone tells you that you can't do something, I feel that way about myself too.
Yes.
I think, oh, you tell me I can't do something. That means I'm going to do it. And not only am I going to do it, but I'm going to master doing it
Do it
so
well.
that you are going to be shocked at
Yes.
how well I could do it.
Absolutely.
I love that. And, I think as a woman, and, I think women feel that way a little bit more than men in some ways, that we need to prove ourselves.
Yes.
And, we've got this, we're our own worst critics. Though there are the mean girls, that little element that is, I know, I don't like them. I don't care for mean girls.
I'm not that into them. Yes.
I'm not either. I think with this world, no mean girls.
No mean girls.
No.
Come on.
If you want to get in our way, well, then just step aside.
Absolutely.
I mean, I try to, on the other hand, build up women because I love how, and I don't want to say that men aren't special, but there is something that a woman brings to a team, brings to a table
Absolutely.
that is unique to us.
Absolutely.
And we all have something special about us. I don't know what it is necessarily. It's not the same in every woman, of course. But, just that little something that really, completes a circle.
Absolutely. I agree.
Very exciting. Okay. Resistance with men. Have you ever felt that?
It's so funny because I think I'm typically so focused on the job in front of me and what needs to be done that I'm really oblivious to a lot of like the sly comments, microaggressions. I'm just living life and getting it done. So it's funny because I have had times and I have had instances, especially when I worked in the music industry. It's such a male dominated space. So no one looked like me doing what I was doing. And a lot of times, people thought that I was, someone's assistant or that I wasn't a decision maker. So a lot of, I could kind of see the shock, on their face when I'm like, hey, I'm actually the one making this happen. So definitely, I have seen those types of pushbacks, but I have not let them at all, stop the journey or take the smile off of my face. So yes.
So I would probably call that dismissive.
Yeah, a bit.
Maybe some dismissive attitudes.
Absolutely. And I don't want to get too deep, but, definitely being the only woman in a male-dominated space, there are comments that are said and kind of flirtation that wouldn't be there, I know, if I was a man. So I always had my husband around. He actually co-founded the creative agency and then also the booking agency prior. So I did have that. So I didn't experience any trauma, related to that. But definitely you can, kind of feel the energy shift there sometimes. But like I said, that can't stop us.
No, I pretty much ignore that too.
Yes.
I think, and as an attractive woman that you are, you probably just kind of just, do your own thing. And you're such a free spirit. I love that about you. That might be another label I would have for you.
Okay,
free
I'll take
spirit, happy, energetic.
Absolutely.
Just, really, your energy is just amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
So
the same.
Oh, thank you. So, question for you: how do you measure success? Because I would assume it would be different in your new career versus your old career. And then also, in personal life, because success is a lot of different things. So tell me what that looks like for you.
You know what? Honestly, at this stage, because my children are still underage, really seeing them happy and I know we always talk about like the work-life balance, but the ability that I have to like wake up, take the littles to school, and help people literally build their businesses and build their empires brick by brick is really, really rewarding because I'm able to pour into some incredible people, right? Including my children. So I feel like I have reached a bit of a sweet spot. I still work more than probably most humans should, but I know that I am, starting a new career, building, a law practice is not a easy feat. So definitely I'm learning to delegate more. I'm learning to really train my team so that I can have a little less time away from the busy work and focus a lot more on really getting this important information, this powerful information, this access to information, this access to resources to the communities that need it. So definitely trying to make that pivot more into really just getting the word out there and educating folks on the importance of proper formation and of, trademarking and intellectual property and what it can do for your business. And then ultimately how to, protect their wealth after they achieve it. So I feel like I'm finding a sweet spot, but I think ultimately just helping as many people as I can and unlocking as much access to information and resources that I am able to.
So that and being a mom, how do you balance it all? How do you?
You just do it. I always say 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other. That's all we can do. So
you did mention delegate. So I'm wondering, what does your support system look like at home?
Oh, goodness. So that's fun. You know what? My family is really supportive. My littles are a little bigger now. So the baby, Noah, he's into the second grade now. My daughter, Ariel, is 10, and my son, my oldest son, Tylen, just graduated from high school. So everyone's getting self-sufficient. My husband took most of the hard work while I was in law school as far as, PTA meetings and activities. So that was definitely a blessing because I was able to really hone in and focus and pass the bar on my first try in California. Yay. So, definitely had a lot of support making that transition. And then, currently, like I said, the kids are a lot more self-sufficient. Schools are open back up. My mom comes down and helps from time to time. My team with the business, is like family. So yeah, it's a great folks around me. I'm blessed.
Well, good. You have to have a support system. I mean, that's just. Yeah, it's really hard without it.
Absolutely.
So is there something that you could share with us that maybe you have failed at, that you learned something from? Because I always say, every failure actually presents something that you need to take away from that. So you don't do it a second time.
Those are the strongest lessons, right?
Yeah.
Definitely one thing that I've realized about myself, and I'm really trying to self-correct now, and I think awareness is so important, is saying yes to every situation and everything. It feels bad to say no. And I kind of found myself in a place where I was saying yes so often that I wasn't able to give 100% and really give my all to anything.
Right.
Really thin, it's a thin line between, trying to be everything for everyone. And then, like you said, failure, right? And not really showing up for anyone the way that you need to. So I think that that's something that I've struggled with really probably my entire life. And just now, as, building this law practice, it's come to the forefront again that it's really important. I can't take on everything. I can't help, even if I have the skill and the information, that doesn't mean that I am always the person for the job. So I think really honing in, letting my yes be my yes and my no being my no, and being okay when it's a no, right, is kind of the lesson in dropping the ball a few times because I said yes too much.
Well, back to what you said, not doing anything well if you're doing too much.
Absolutely.
I mean, you don't seem to me, well, let's face it, no one likes to fail at anything.
No.
And the truth is
good.
You do have to say no sometimes. It's impossible to be everything to everyone.
Absolutely.
And also to have the knowledge and the wherewithal to be able to find that strength to say, you know what, if I take that on, these other things are going to lack.
Of course. Yeah.
So as a female leader, have you had a lot of significant barriers in your career? Either one. So could be music, could be, law.
And I might I might not be giving potential barriers the credit that they deserve. However, I really believe that the only thing that's ever stood in my way is just information I did not know, right? Rooms that I was not allowed to enter, spaces that I was not invited into. So again, I think that once I find out, though, that it's there, right, I'm figuring out how to get past it and not only get myself through those doors and into those spaces, but really take dynamic, powerful thought leaders with me so that we can, make every space we enter better than it was before we got there, right? So, again, barriers, I think really it comes down to, honestly, that lack of information and then the lack of the know-how, right? So
dynamic thought leaders, I like that term. Do you have any certain people that you can point to and say, you know what, I really learned a lot from them and it's helped me grow as a person, mentors? Do you have anyone that you'd like to share?
To be honest with you, I find mentorship and gems in every single relationship that I have. Even my children teach me things. It was so funny. Last night, actually, my 7-year-old, we have a dog. I didn't want the dog. Dad bought the dog. Dad bought the dog for our daughter, and now we have a dog, right? So our dog's Bagel. She's a Yorkie. She's a year old. So anyway, we were actually playing with Bagel, and everybody knows I'm like, Bagel, get out of my room, get off of my bed, And so I was actually on the floor with my son and Bagel, and we're playing with toys, and I'm laughing, and we're having, a really good time. And my 7-year-old looks up at me, and he says, Mommy, I love it when you're smiling and laughing. And he gives me the biggest hug.
Aww.
And it really, it almost made me a little bit emotional just because he pointed out and then it made me reflect. I literally, after I put the kids to bed, and Bagel calmed down from her hyperactivity, I laid in bed and I really reflected on that because I'm like, well, what am I doing, right? Does that mean that he's not seeing me smile enough? Does that mean that mommy's too stressed out? Does that mean that I really need to spend more time on the floor, engage with them, right? So all of those thoughts came to my head and I'm like, this is from a 7-year-old, right? My 7-year-old child that, of course, I'm here guiding, but he's also pouring back into me. So similarly with really all relationships, my clients, my friends, I have incredible, like I said, I've been blessed to have some incredible people in my life. And I learn from everyone and I take in and I try to pour into, and then I also am, in return getting poured into. So
well, I think
yes.
I think people that are mentors could even be people that you go, oh gosh, I don't like that. I don't want to be like that.
Yes.
And I think, kind of that conversation with your son, thinking, okay, am I not happy very much? Have I been stressed? Yeah, that's a good thing to reflect on because let's face it, everyone gets so busy in their day-to-day life and you're in a bubble at times. Sure. And then you go, oh gosh, wait, I haven't been doing this or I haven't been doing that. So
absolutely,
I think that's good to be able to take that time and reflect on it.
Yes.
Because there are a lot of people that are, let's face it, so busy that they never look at that until their relationships are not doing well. So that's absolutely a bit of a bummer. Okay, so lessons learned. What are some lessons that you'd like to share with young women that maybe they could learn and apply in their own lives?
Absolutely. One thing I also have struggled with, done is literally better than perfect. I promise you, every time done is going to be better than perfect. That doesn't mean do the bare minimum, right? But I've always had a fear of mediocrity. I've always had a fear of not achieving everything on my list, literally a written list of things that needed to be achieved. So one thing that I have realized is, letting go of that. If you are starting on your career path, if you are working towards achieving your goals, just give yourself a little grace, give yourself a little slack. You can get through that list, but you want to make sure that you're actually not limiting yourself because of the fear that you're not going to have it done perfectly, right? And it feels good to accomplish something, even if, everything, it wasn't exactly how you imagined and it wasn't all of the things that you want it to be. You still, getting through it and getting that foot in front of the other and getting to the next steps is really rewarding. So definitely biggest piece of advice is just get it done. Do the things. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just stay the course, right? I'm trying to think of any other.
And Rome wasn't built in a day. It really wasn't. It doesn't happen overnight.
Absolutely.
Give yourself a little bit of grace when you can't do it quite yet.
Absolutely. And one other thing that I always say, not only was Rome not built in a day, it also wasn't built by one person.
That's right.
Get good people around you. Lean in to mentors, like you said earlier. Lean into your team. Lean into, the people that are in your corner, because you can't do this whole journey by yourself. And even if you can, you probably shouldn't. You won't be as happy, right? So,
well, and encourage the people that are around you too.
Absolutely.
Because there are a lot of people that can't see the potential that maybe you can see, that you can say, well, what about this? Or how about you try that? I tell every young person that I ever get in contact with, you should try things, nothing that's seriously, not safe, but things, physically unsafe. But try things that don't feel very comfortable to you, because you might find something within yourself that you had no idea you would be very passionate about. And you might it might be the thing for you.
100%. I agree with that 100%. Yes.
So how did, I said one day, Sacha, you need to run for law, or you need to go to law school. You need to figure out how to do that.
Yes.
How did you really tell me how that all kind of evolved for you?
So when I first started with the live events and, the music scene, things were going great, and, it was good money, flexible schedule. I eventually, founded a boutique, agency out there. And as the business grew, so did the conflict, so did, the potential problems, right? So as we started dealing with more, A-list, high caliber artists, and not necessarily local artists. So we had, artists coming in. We were bringing them in from all over the country, Canada, Europe, DJs. Like it got great, which was amazing. However, we were essentially, because we were the man in the middle, like I said earlier, there were a couple of situations where it was no fault of our own, but the artist manager and then maybe the venue owner, they wanted, there was one situation where the venue owner literally tried to sneak into the contract that the artist was going to come in on a jet to the landing pad. And the artist manager is like, we're absolutely not going to do that, right? So, those types of random, problems that most people can't even, fathom. They're not real problems, right? There's people hungry, and we're talking about, how the artist is going to come in. So things like that started to occur more regularly. And because, again, we're the man in the middle, so we have the artists. Most of the artists that we were working with were, very popular, labels behind them, entire management teams. And then we had the investor or the venue owner or the concert promoter. And, again, same thing. They have a legal team. They have a whole team behind them. And then we're kind of the little guys in the middle, like, no one get mad and throw us under the bus, right? So,
to protect yourself.
Exactly. So I had a knack for contracts. I was able to catch a lot of things. I was able to really make sure that the contracts were fair and, equal on both sides and all of that. But when we had to bring attorneys in, It got really, really pricey. The year before I left to law school, I think we paid well into six figures in like legal fees and just, fees to others. And I'm like, I'll just bite the bullet. I'll go on sabbatical is what I called it. And I'm going to go to law school. And yeah, it stuck.
Well, we do have a litigious society now. And I mean, it's like everyone, they don't realize the value in protecting themselves.
Absolutely.
And many people get taken advantage of. I mean, you hear about all the time where these wildly successful artists end up penniless because they get sued because they end up not knowing what they did. You don't know what you don't know, right?
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. So I love that you did that and really saw the value in that. So
Absolutely.
Now you probably are feeling pretty comfortable that you are on the right track. No one's going to take advantage of you again. How do you have these conversations with these artists and articulate how important it is for them to protect themselves?
Again, most of the time when I have conversations, so I have a couple of different client tracks, right? When we're dealing with celebrities, artists, creatives, entertainers, people that are successful in their own right, entrepreneurs, business owners that have incredible, amazing brands that they're building, a lot of times they just literally don't know. The first response is typically shock. A lot of them are hurt that the people that have been around them before I showed up did not tell them, especially with artists, because, a lot of times the labels behind them, their management team, all those people around them, their interests are protected, right? They have a lawyer that's looking over their contracts. They have trust and irrevocable trust and, accounts set up overseas for long-term wealth for their families. And yet the artists that everyone is benefiting from is probably not going to have what they have if we fast forward 10, 15 years down the line, right?
That's going to be a hard conversation.
So yes.
You're the one who's making all this money for everyone. However, you're the one that's going to end up with the least at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
It's got to be hard.
It's a historical truth.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you just look, that's the case. So I think more so, I try to be gentle, but also firm in that this is not an option, right? Again, I do have a lot of clients that come to me and they're literally, the building like the ground floor, right? Like they're like, look, I haven't done anything. What do I do?
Yeah.
That's always great because I can really guide them from, just inception on the right steps and make sure that they're protected. But like I said, a lot of times when we're coming in for the clients that I used to serve in the capacity of a booking agent, right, getting them money for entertaining, now kind of doubling down and having a conversation about like, okay, I know you're getting the money from entertaining. This is what you need to do with it. Again, a lot of times it's just like, they're like, nobody told me,
Right.
I'm like, so.
Well, especially a lot of times there are managers that are family members.
Absolutely.
So that's even got to be more difficult because,
Absolutely.
No one wants to think that someone's going to take advantage of them.
For sure. No, and it does. It gets scary. But it's really, and that's why, I said, definitely you want to bring people in that know what they're doing. Even if you have someone in your corner that you trust, that's fine. But they're not a lawyer. They're likely not an accountant. They're likely not going to be able to give you the right information, even if they have good intentions, let alone if they don't, right? So,
well, and good intentions are not always well thought out, especially,
Absolutely.
Again, back to what we said before. You don't know what you don't know.
The blind leading the blind leading
there
the blind.
There you go.
Yes.
Exactly. All right. So you're going to walk into a room. Imagine this.
Okay.
Walking into a room of young women that want to become leaders.
Yes.
What would your advice to them be?
Ooh, so much.
Yeah.
Don't ever, how can I put this? There's a very thin line between confidence and arrogance. I definitely suggest that leaders, and not just women, but especially us, because we are, ridding ourselves of the mean girl mentality that's been around for too long. I think being approachable, being kind is really, really important. You get so many, more flies with honey? I think, a lot of times, especially with women coming into leadership roles, too often, I think that we feel like that means that we have to lean with an iron thumb and, be almost nasty to the people who are serving us and serving our interests. And I think that that's so misguided. There's a thing, in undergrad, it's called the dead even rule. And essentially what this phenomena is it means that typically when there is a woman who is in leadership and there's another woman or women that are, essentially under her control or under her business-wise, that there's a thing that if the woman who is in leadership is too kind or too flexible, and is not mean and a raving, that essentially the dead even rule will happen. And meaning that, for example, if the woman in leadership or the boss, right, takes a long lunch, then the women under her would also say, oh, I should be able to take a long lunch. Or if the woman in leadership goes on a vacation, then the women say, I should go on a vacation, right? So with that being said, I do try to find a nice balance between, look, this is my vision. Again, I'll ask for feedback, get information, but, finding that balance between not being clear on what we're doing, but also being kind and asking for their input, right? Asking for the people around you's input. Don't feel like you have to just, because we don't know everything and our eyes can't be on everything. So if you're not getting feedback from the people that you're leading, you're probably going to run in place a lot faster than if you do have feedback from the people that you're leading, and they can kind of paint a really clear picture around you. So I think just, finding that happy place between
a balance. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely a balance. Yes. Well, I agree with you 100%. You can't lose the humanity of who you are.
Absolutely.
And I think especially as a woman, we've got this very soft side to us. But, in a lot of different, careers, you really have to be strong as well.
Absolutely.
So it can't be all one. It can't be all the
Yes.
other. It's got to be, like you mentioned, balance and having enough of whatever you need at that moment in time. If there's a moment in time that you need to be softer and more caring and kind,
absolutely,
because people, we're people too, right? We're
100%.
We're not just, the person in charge. We actually can't forget who we are, because if you lose that part of you,
absolutely,
you can't actually bring a team together, because let's face it, just being strong and tough all the time, it doesn't work.
Yes.
You've got to be both. But I think it's an ebb and flow for sure.
100%. One of the things that I always do when we're bringing someone new into the team is I have them do a strengths assessment, right? And we have our whole team charted. So I'm like, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. I'm hiring for my weaknesses. Every time,
for sure.
Right? Or if, so my COO, they have their, strengths, and then they have their weaknesses. So if we bring someone else on, it's going to be for her weaknesses. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's just important to, like you said, just find that flow and make sure that our eyes are open to that. And that's why I said, you do want to be humble, but you also want to be confident, but then you don't want to be arrogant, right? You want to make sure that you are open to receiving what's around you. And sometimes it's in front of your face, but if you're, going too fast and too hard, you might not even see it. So
love it. Okay, what's next for you?
Goodness, yes. I'm excited that you asked that, because we are actually, so right now the law firm is growing. We are expanding. We're essentially going to be shifting and creating and starting another office that's going to be solely focused on asset protection. So, the IP side is still going to be running. My team is getting ready we're going to be doing some hiring in the very near future and kind of getting ready to take on more responsibility. And I am going to be opening another firm, another office focused on asset protection and essentially creating family offices for individuals who are recently, wealthy, are essentially just starting on that path and need additional support to make sure, again, that their wealth is generational. So I'm super duper excited about that.
Kind of a, you're successful, now what?
Yes, exactly.
I love
it.
Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes,
so
my
we're
pleasure.
here with Sacha Brackins, Brackins Law Firm. And good luck to you and everything that you do next.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me. This is amazing.
Of course. Really appreciate our time together.
Yes, me as well.
Thank you.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learn how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with CEO host Rebecca Jones.
You have been listening to a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands. Find more stories at cloudcast.us.